Hey,
Hey Jackie, how are you?
good. How are you?
I'm good.
Can you see me? There we go.
Okay, now it's working. Yeah, it was kind of like loading.
Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen it do that before.
I've honestly I'm late to the game, so I'm new to this whole IG live. So every
Mm.
week there's like something new that's happening.
My
It's crazy.
internet is over here acting up because they've been like they've been doing all this type of reconstruction. So I had to come off of, I'm using my data. So I'm just praying and hoping that it just stays strong. So,
No, but that's what I've been doing too. It's been like it's crazy how the Wi-Fi has been working. It cuts in and out. It's
yes.
insane, but
Can I tell you how I'm loving our short hair, glasses, and hoop earring vibe? Okay.
thank you. I know I love it. I'm loving the short hair now.
Yes, I love short hair. I'm all about the pixie cuts and the shortness.
Yeah, no, you and me both. I love it. But I wanted to thank you so much for doing this
Yes.
because I know you're super busy, but this means a lot just to get all this information out there to people, especially people that are wanting to change their careers or
Mhm.
maybe just deciding on what field they want to go into. So this is super cool. Somebody mentioned that they did want to know more about public relations and what
Nice.
exactly a publicist does. So I thought it would be super cool to have somebody on so that I could get them to explain their journey.
Mm,
So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, can
sure, sure.
you start that?
So, what's up, everybody? My name is Jackie Clarke. I am from Toronto, Canada. So, hailing from the six, out here where Drake resides, The Weeknd resides, Shania Twain resides, a bunch of great Canadians reside. And I'm the founder, like I said, of The Wall Connected. And we're a creative communications agency. So we specialize mostly in agency support and back-end support. We used to do front-end PR, so that's why a lot of my socials say former publicist. I still do PR, but a lot of what I do is more of the back-end side that you don't really hear about in public relations. So I'm just coming at it from a different perspective and a different side. So that's a bit about me.
And I love that because you have experience on both ends. So
Yes.
you're going to be able to give us a lot of information on what are those two aspects. But I know when I talk to people and I say like, oh, I do public relations or I'm in public relations, they don't understand exactly what it is. There's a lot of confusion. A lot of
Sure.
people confuse it for marketing.
Yep.
But it has changed so much and the field is so big. So honestly, marketing sometimes is put into PR as well. So I want to know in your words, what is a definition of a publicist or public
Well,
relations?
and for so public relations and publicist are two very different things. They're two very different things. In my opinion, a publicist is a miracle worker. We turn water into wine, not to compare to Jesus, but we be turning water into wine a lot. But so a publicist is somebody that um, what's the word I'm trying to say, take your brand message and relate it to your target audiences. So we are really about message correlation. We kind of spin the narratives in favor for your benefit in particular. And public relations is the act of connecting the public, making the public aware of your brand, business, service, or product. So it's that connection with the public, and publicists are the connectors. We are that, taking all of your thoughts and making it make sense to your target audience. So speaking their specific languages, finding where they are, understanding where they're shopping online, what platforms they're using the most, and finding out the best way to kind of share your messages in a way that's digestible for them.
Okay, and there you have it. So I feel like that's a great explanation, and I see it as the same way. But I know a lot of people get confused. And then you had mentioned when you were introducing yourself about being on the front end and then the back end. So if you could explain to
Yeah.
people what's the difference between the both of them.
So there's large scopes in public relations. We do a ton of different things, and we do get lumped into marketing. Our job and event coordination, our job ties into all of those things, but there are specific people that do events, and there's specific people that do marketing, and there's public relations who are a cluster of the both. But so from the front end PR perspective, that's really the managing talent, getting people on red carpets, getting your product or service on TV, with influencers, all of those front facing things. Backend PR is building the pitch decks, building the presentation, figuring out your strategies. We're more of the behind the scenes type of people, so you don't necessarily see us. A lot of the back end is running around picking up celebrities, getting them ready. I mean, this is part front end too, getting them ready for press junkets or interviews. But you know, back end is really, we're strategizing, we're doing all the creative communication. So like I said, pitch decks, PowerPoint presentations. We're really out here mapping your goals, understanding your tactics, breaking everything down and creating a plan for you to be successful. So then the front end side of the PR can take hold in getting you on TV, getting you in those magazines, getting you in those exclusive parties. So I focus now more on the back end because I find I like the creative strategy side. I like the side of just figuring out how we can position you in a way that will make you excel. I don't really care to walk a red carpet anymore. It's cool if I get you on TV, but that's not really my end goal.
Okay, yeah. Because I think too, a lot of people, their first introduction to a publicist, a lot of times is like by television shows or books that they read, maybe a character is a publicist, and they make it seem all glitz and glam, like, okay, yeah, I'm on the red carpet and stuff. And it is a fun job, but it is a lot of work. So yeah. I think that's good that you're showing both sides, because a lot of people, even myself getting into it, I didn't know how much work goes into it. Like until I started, I was just like, I have to do this and this. And then even like doing something for like a clothing brand, I had to carry clothes back and forth. I hate carrying stuff. So it was a lot of stuff that goes into the job that I don't think people even realize how much work
people have no idea. And you know, what the publicists are a very undervalued service, and I don't feel they're really respected, because a client will get at you and be like, I want to be in Jet magazine or Ebony magazine, or the artist will come at you and yes, your chest is supposed to be high. You are supposed to believe you are the greatest thing. It doesn't mean Pigeons and Planes thinks you're the greatest thing. Like, you have to build these relationships. A lot of what we do is thousands of millions of emails, a lot of pitch writing, a lot of taking the same story and figuring out how to change those angles, writing different versions of the pitch, because you can't send out one pitch to all of the outlets, because there's different targets that are you music, so you're hip hop, but then you're indie, you're from Canada. Those are different niches and markets that we have to tailor our pitch to, research and finding. And it doesn't always mean we get access. Like I tell clients all the time, I don't guarantee stuff. And people are like, you shouldn't do that as a publicist. You have to guarantee. I don't work for Nestle. I don't work for Ciroc. I know people at Nestle and Ciroc, but I can't be sure that because they know me, they're going to post it. It still has to be on beat for them. I can guarantee that I will write the release. I will write the pitch. We will exhaust all of our efforts, but people don't understand that. And they think they paid a publicist that is guaranteed to be on in magazines. Now, I will say there is a level of guarantee, but that's what paid media is. So there's something called paid media and then earned media. I like the earned media mantra because that means the journalist or the person I'm connecting with loves what I'm doing, and that means they're more invested in you and they may spread your word. But if you got money, if you were the money reside, I mean, sure, if you want to drop $20,000, $30,000, we can do all of the targeting pitching you would like, because you're paying for that. But again, are you clout chasing, or are you really trying to land publicity that is more earned? So that's kind of the debate. And I think publicists have started to come up recently, and everybody's a publicist. I've seen today some girl who's a journalist, all of a sudden I see that she's a publicist for something. I'm like, since when? But I don't know. But everybody's everything nowadays, and it's making it, I find a lot of people are giving publicists a bad rep, because people are being burned by people who are not publicists or don't understand it yet, and they're giving us a bad rep, because then we have to work 10 times harder to prove that we could secure things, because the person you've paid thousands of dollars for hasn't done a thing. So it's a really interesting area.
No, it's very true what you were saying. A lot of times clients just think that, okay, I have a publicist, I'm automatically going to get the top spot in like Essence or Jet or wherever they want to be, which is, like you said, is fine, but it does take time.
Yeah.
And it does take a lot of effort of building that relationship with the journalist if you don't have that relationship already. And even if you do, again, like you said, does it work? Is it the right time to pitch this?
And
so
time is
that's another
important.
thing. Yeah.
Because
a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, because people will come at me, hey, I want to be pitched for Black History Month. Black History Month is over, sweetie. Like, well, if February hasn't started, you got to get at least 30 days at the bare minimum ahead of a journalist, because they already have some stories. They've already been looking at people throughout the year. Like, the sooner you know you want to be placed in something or you're launching something, give yourself time to pitch it, to get those responses, because these people get millions of thousands of emails. And then for them to click through yours, you might go to junk mail. You got to send it 3-4 times. Like, allow your publicist to do the work, and give us the time to support you. When you don't give us the time, I can't turn water into wine all the time. It doesn't happen.
No, that's so true. So you explained a little bit, of course, what you do. And I know as working in public relations, it varies day to day. Like, things change. There's a lot of last minute changes. There's a lot of things that happen like off the cuff. So if you could kind of give an example for somebody that is interested, like what does maybe a work day, or if it's easier, a work week may look like for you, how you plan everything, because you have to be really organized as well.
For sure. So I have my own agency. So I'm more of a contractor for a lot of different people. So my work week is somewhat unpredictable. I mean, I have 2-3 clients now that are long-term clients. So I know I have a 2:00 meeting Monday to Friday. I know every month at the end of the month, we have an event. So there are certain staples that I know are not going to change. But because I contract, and a lot of the clients I bring in are short-term clients, which I think helps with my, I don't have ADD, but I probably do. I like to do things very quickly. I like to get stimulated by different things. So I have clients that come in every month. I have new clients every month, and then I have staple clients. So a typical work week for me, a day roughly, wake up, obviously check all my emails. Well, from the night before, I take a look at what meetings I have, what my day looks like in general, what things I can get out of, to be honest, because Mondays for me are really busy, packed days. But Mondays are the start of my work week. So I have a whole ton of meetings on Monday just to set the week. And then, definitely go through emails, check Instagram, check the national and international news, just to see what's happening in the world. Because if I am going to pitch somebody, I need to be on beat. And 2, I don't want to be sending something and there's a world crisis and I look inconsiderate. So definitely checking the national news scope, going through my emails, and then looking at what client projects I have coming up, and then seeing, okay, going down the checklist of what I've done and what I haven't done for each client. And then the clients that I do have during the week, on a Thursday, I have client days. So all day Thursday, I speak to every single one of my clients. So we have a 1-hour call where we catch up about what's missing, what's not been done, what's happening, what's new, etc., just to get them up to speed and get myself up to speed. And then I tap back in with, I have some contractors that come in with me, and I'm hiring 2 interns as well. So tap in with the contractors that I have to be like, here's what's happening with these projects. This client's overdue. We're late or we're behind on this. And then it's kind of cycling those things over again, checking my calendar. And I will say, you have to be really organized. And I am an organized person, but I also am disorganized in the same time, because so much is happening. And we tend to work well through chaos and through mismanagement. And then I try to schedule time for myself. So I try to go for a walk every other day, like a 2-hour walk, and just try to have downtime. And then Fridays are kind of like an off day for me. I try not to do work on a Fridays. I don't work on the weekends, period. Like, clients have no access to me on weekends unless we're doing an event, because that's my personal time. And I have a 0 inbox policy on a Friday. So by Friday, all of my emails need to be read and or addressed or responded to, and then going into the next week with a clear-ish kind of inbox. So under 10 emails can stay in my inbox over the weekend. But I try to keep it down, because if you're an agency, Agency is a little bit different because you have specific clients that are on retainers for a certain amount of time. So you're working on those things day in, day out, and you may have 2 or 3 clients per portfolio. So then you're juggling, Mondays might be all the beauty brands, Wednesdays might be the tech brands, and then Fridays might be, the consumer brands. So you're juggling those type of things. And then in between that, I'm also keeping up with, can I pitch myself for other opportunities? Because you got to treat yourself like a client as well. So there's all my own client stuff for my agency, update the website, create social media, pitch myself for speaking gigs, opportunities, interviews, see what's going on so you stay relevant. So it's it changes daily depending on what type of every couple of months, depending on what kind of clients I'm working with. But I like it. I like the freedom of a contractor agency versus in-house. In-house is a little bit too structured for me.
Yeah, no, it's all about finding what works for you. So even for me, I wanted to get into internships with you as well, since you run your own agency. And for me, I had an internship at a fashion and beauty agency, and then I got hired there. And I came to the realization that it is not for me, because that was crazy. So even you saying like having your weekends to yourself and stuff like that, like that didn't really exist sometimes because of everything that's happening. And of course you have to meet deadlines. But yeah, I wanted to talk about internship because you did bring it up quickly. So I find that's one of, well, it doesn't really matter what career you're going into, but just to get hands-on experience, I find it's really great if you volunteer or get an internship to really know what you're walking into. So in your opinion, like what are some tips that an intern can use to make the most out of their internship? What do you think they can do?
I personally love internships. So I fell into this industry, and we can get into that a little bit later. So I actually never knew I wanted to be a publicist, but I kind of fell into this industry through interning opportunities. So I have a fashion design background. Surprisingly, I actually studied design, so I wanted to be a bridal designer. I don't sew as much as I used to. I don't sew as much as I used to, but I can. I just don't. So the thing is, because of interning, I was able to do marketing. I was able to do a bit of social, and that's how I kind of started understanding what PR was, because I was doing it in college, had no idea what it was though, and then fell into it. But one of the things I could tell interns is to bring your authentic self. Yes, you're going to have to learn how that agency operates, but understand that agency's method is based off of the methodology of the CEO and the owner and how they perceive how they do things, right? And every agency you move to, clippings, which are tracking all of the press a client or a brand has received, clippings in a beauty brand is completely different in a film brand. Like, I go from doing 5 or 6 beauty clippings for that week for that client to 300 to 400 a day for one film. Wow. And I worked in film PR for a long while as well. So interning and just exposing yourself to all different areas, trying everything once, because you really don't know what you like until you do it. Like you said, you thought, yeah, I'm going to go into fashion PR and this is what's going to be. And you realize, I don't like steaming clothes. I don't like carrying clothes. Clothes are ripping. I have to dress models. Like it's a lot. So exposing yourself in different industries to see where you really fit in, and then ultimately failing. I would say, and people are like, why would you talk about failing? But you don't know where you've been until you don't know where you're going until you know where you've been, and you have to fail in order to know how to succeed. And there was a lot of things that I struggled at, failed at, but it really taught me resilience. It taught me strength. It really brought out the dynamic things that I was able to do, and really taught me what I'm really good at and what I'm really not great at. And then that's been able to help me niche down, even now in my business, niche down exactly where it is I want to go, because I've done everything, but not being afraid to be yourself. So quick story. I was at an agency. I literally told this girl to take a chance on me, and she did. And literally, like, every day I was messing up. Something was going wrong every single damn day. Like, I couldn't get it right. And then, I was being blamed for stuff. And then, you're an intern, so the seniors are trying to throw stuff on you so you can do it, but it's really their job. But as an intern, you just do it because you don't want to get in trouble. And I remember, like, going into bathrooms crying, saying, F this, like, I want to leave, I want to quit, etc. And then one day we had a yoga event, and I just happened to be at the event, and I'm a talkative, bubbly person. And I was just like, yeah, I learned very quickly what the recipes were, and I was able to share, yeah, try this. You're allergic to nuts. No, sis, you don't want that. And it was to the point where people thought I worked for the yoga company, and people kept
Oh
coming up like,
wow,
oh,
yeah.
you got a great staff. And they're like, she's with the PR team. And then that word traveled back to my boss. And then the very next day, my boss was like, whatever it is that do that. Obviously apply what it is that we've taught you, but do it in a way that makes sense for you. And from there, that was a click for me. And my life there, agency life at this particular agency, got a whole lot better because I was able to bring me, and they understood how I worked. But sometimes you need to show yourself so that the brand or the client or your boss can see how you think and how you move, and figure out how we can work together. So I would say, don't be afraid to bring yourself to the table.
I think those are two great pieces of advice, because a lot of people are afraid to fail, because they feel
Absolutely.
that failure equals an ending.
Yeah.
But sometimes it just opens more doors, and it helps you learn, and it helps you be greater than what you were doing previously. So I think it's really important. I feel like people need to shift their minds when it comes to failure. And then another thing, being yourself. I think that's really important, because sometimes we get into different situations or in different like surroundings, and we kind of change or alter ourselves so that we can fit in, when
Yeah.
a lot of times you don't need to. You just need to just be yourself. And then also being yourself, you attract the things that you need to, you know.
Ultimately, yeah. Because remember, when you not being yourself means you're blocking your blessings, because
Yeah.
you can't receive what's not meant for you, but you pretending to be somebody else. Your blessings don't know how to bring it to you, because you're outwardly putting out there that this is not me. And so that's something I had to learn for myself. So now I show up 1,010%. I mean, yes, you do need to tweak your tone, tweak yourself a little bit for the position, but ultimately bring the same cadence of who you are to the table. You just can't be ratchet all the time. You can't curse somebody out, but learn how to adjust your tone and yourself to fit the bill, but ultimately be you.
No, I completely agree. And like for you too, I had to learn that as well, to be myself, and really also get to know who I am as well, because that's also helping me figure out exactly what path I want to go down. So I
Absolutely.
think that is really, really important. And then when it comes to getting hired within the field of public relations, are there any tips that you would recommend for somebody that's maybe looking for a job? Are there like specific job boards for communication postings and stuff like that you would recommend?
Yeah, so job boards, one site that I love, a site that has helped me through my PR career, was PR Couture. So the founder of that is Crosby Norrix, I believe her name is. She's an amazing person. Women in PR is a great one as well. PR Related is another great site. There was one, I think it's worldwide, but I know it was here in Canada. It was called Nine to Thrive, or the 9 to 5. It
Oh,
was a cool website that offered different opportunities. But one thing I would say is look at, everywhere's hiring for communication. So Indeed, LinkedIn, all these places offer something. But sometimes don't be afraid to insert yourself into a company, even though they may not have a position right now. You could have a position later on, because you're bringing something to the table. Look at some of the things that where they've called for help on their social media. If they look for a marketing person in the past, or you've seen that they talk about social. You don't want to disrespect anybody, but sometimes you could present a proposal and be like, hey, I would love to work for your team and support you in the areas of X, Y, and Z. My strengths are da 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 da. And I've noticed that, and you use their own Instagram or their website or their blog as case studies, and you explain how you would further enhance, not do better, but you'd further enhance, because we gotta be careful in these streets,
yeah.
but you'd further enhance how you would support them. But when you're looking to apply for a job, definitely read over the resume and look over the keywords, and make sure that your cover letter and your resume have the the job description. Look sure that your resume has some of the keywords from the job description in there, because a lot of stuff right now is through portals, and they have certain keywords that they've plugged in that they're looking for. So if your resume doesn't have these keywords, you're going to get thrown out. Also, go ahead and look up these people on LinkedIn, look up the marketing manager, look up the social media manager, look up whatever department. And this is not even in relation to PR, but look up whatever person, give them a phone call. When I tell you people are not used to having their phone ring anymore, you call up this person and you be like, hi, Susie, my name is Jackie. You know, I saw that you are the marketing manager at Nike, and I wanted to know if you had a few minutes to talk, if I could talk to you. I know there's a job position, and I wanted to know what kind of qualifications you're looking for in somebody. You flip the script on them a little bit, because we're at a point where we're telling people what it is we do, but we've never really asked them what it is they're looking for. They could only put, an employer could only put so much on their job description. So picking up that phone call, that's also a standout kind of thing. I'm going to look for your resume now specifically because you called me, or specifically because you emailed me or sent me a LinkedIn. So take the initiative to put yourself out there. If it's really a job that you want, come with a clean resume and come with some case studies about the things that you can do, or offer a few solutions based on, you know, make up a fake scenario based off of the job description of what you would bring to the table and how you would implement it. Those type of things get people seen.
No, I love all of those, because one thing you said is kind of like looking at the company. For example, you use social media. If they're missing something, you're telling them how you can add value to them. So you're showing how you could be of service. So I think that's really important, because I feel like now too, it's great to think outside the box than how we traditionally apply for jobs. So I think that's super important. Words mean things. So of course, choose your words wisely, and having those keywords are really important. So that's also a good thing too. And then also the telephone, that's something I didn't even think of at all. So I think that's so cool, because a lot of times because I love watching interviews, and a lot of times I'll listen to artists, and back in the day they used to like show up at different places, and they would get in and they would talk to people. So I feel like we need to also take a step back and maybe do it like the old school way, pick up the telephone and call somebody instead of just sending an email, because like as you mentioned, you receive a lot of emails, a lot, so sometimes our emails get overlooked. But if we give that phone call, we're more than likely to get through. So I think those are great tips for finding a job. And yes, Rowan, this will be saved. So
Rowan,
everybody,
show up to glow up. Absolutely.
Yes, so this will definitely be saved so everybody can check back and hear all these gems. This is perfect. And then another thing too is I find, not even for PR, like in general, networking is really great. And I know some people struggle with networking. It doesn't come easy to them. So do you have any tips for networking as well?
Of course, yeah. So when it comes to networking, you have to have a goal in mind. What is your purpose and reason for being there? Is it, you know, what type of people, and do your research. Like if you know you're going to a certain event, look at the type of people that may be on the guest list, or look at the type of event it is and people that they've had in the past. Give or take, they're going to have some of those same type of people. So what is your end goal? Who are you really there to go connect with? So ideally, I normally, when I go to networking events, when they were open, when the world was great, I had this idea of having, like, I need to collect minimum 10 business cards. And it's not just, I'm just collecting cards for cards. I'm collecting cards, but I'm also writing on the cards where I met that person, the date and time, the day I met that person, funny, quirky things about them. If they wore glasses, if they talked about their dog, or he had a funny bow tie, because those are small nuances, even though I may not have emailed them the next day, which you should. If I email them 6 months later, I can be like, hey, I met you at this and this event. You were wearing that really dynamic dog bone tie. And they're like, oh, okay, shows you paid attention. But have a goal in mind. Second tip for networking is, what is the value that you're bringing to the people that you're going to network with? Are you just asking them, what do you do? Or what information are you trying to pull out from them to see how you can best benefit? And then the third tip is to, when you're networking, talk to everybody. Don't put yourself in a corner. Just sometimes say hello. It doesn't always have to be a, hey, my name is Jackie. I'm a former publicist. What do you do? Talk about the weather. Look at what's happening that day, what's happened that week. Have open-ended conversation, because a lot of the people you're talking to are people. They just want to have general conversation. Build all networking is all about relationships. So if you can't build the basics of a relationship of, hey, I really love your glasses, or I really love your hair, start with something that is easier digestible and then work into the hard things. Ask for a contact. Don't get into this follow me on Instagram crap. Let's stop trying to add people for numbers, because that's not a real connect. I'm going to let you guys know right now, adding me on Instagram is not a real connect. It is in your best interest to get someone's business card. Hey, take my phone, add your number, because when you have that phone number, you have more access to that person. You wait and rely on Instagram, you're hoping that they're going to add you as a friend and that you actually pop up in their general primary inbox, not general or not requested. But also have fun when you go to network. Don't always be so serious. Enjoy yourself, not too much, but have fun, and also dress the way you want to be perceived. And this also goes for being online. So I do a lot of events on Hopin, a lot of events online, and I'm finding a lot of these online virtual events have, you know, networking capabilities. Why are you going to these events and you're not at least dressed from the waist up? It is like, it kills me. You have networking opportunities where you will roulette and you could possibly be speaking to a speaker, a celebrity, somebody that can make your business grow, but you don't want to show yourself on camera. It makes zero sense. If you're signing up for an event that offers networking, I don't care if you want to be butt naked from the bottom down. Put on a shirt, put on, put your wig on. If you have a wig, brush back your hair. You don't want to do you don't want to do your makeup, put on some lashes, quickly dust some powder on your face. If you're females, pull yourself together and show up, because that's the first step of networking, is showing up. Now, when a lot of us can't do that personal in-person interaction, people are craving this one-on-one digital talk. So people are just as excited to see you as you are to see them. So definitely show up online for virtual networking.
No, I totally agree, because I find during this phase, I find it easier to network because people are, like you said, looking for that interaction. And it's so easy, like, not so easy in the sense of like putting yourself out there, but it's so easy that, like you said, you only have to get dressed waist up. Keep it super simple. Like, we don't have to look for heels. We don't have to look for matching bottoms. Like, keep everything super simple. And another thing someone told me that I thought was cool too, is that if you are at a networking event too, sometimes we want to go for the celebrity or the face of the company. But sometimes it's great to, because they're so busy, to just ask them, like, who is the point of contact? So instead of trying to get their information, to get their assistant's information or their business partner or whoever, because a lot of times it's their team that's making the decision around whatever you're asking.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's another thing that someone told me that I thought was really helpful, because we always look to the person that's in the front when we should also look at their team as well, and reach out to them to
and it's
ask
true.
Whatever it is.
It's true. I've worked in this industry for a long time, and I could tell you, and I found this out by fluke. I was doing a concert with a bunch of celebrities, like way back in early 2000s, and the DJ and the artist, his personal bodyguard, I, just happened to be going around, giving around water. We started chilling. We started connecting. I was like, okay, laughing, seeing you. I didn't bother the talent. I said hi when I said hi, but I was kikiing with them. And then when they saw me there, when we were trying to get into the club afterwards, and obviously I'm just like some girl that was there, the team saw me like, no, let her in, let her in. Let me tell you, you have better access to that talent by their team. Their team, like you just said, makes a lot of their decisions for that person. And if the team likes you, if the team vets you and thinks you're cool, you have a greater chance, and you can get a lot done through a bodyguard. Let me tell you, a celebrity, an artist's personal bodyguard is their right-hand man. I don't care what anybody says. It's not their manager. It's not their publicist. It's their bodyguard. Because that person, I know a few bodyguards personally, and I've known them for years, and they go everywhere. They are like white on rice with this talent. So if you want access, it's the bodyguard you need to be friends with. But building those relationships with the team also gets you coveted access to other things. And then they introduce you to other people that are within the team. And then you become part of this inner circle that you didn't really know about. So, a lot of people go for, you never go for the jugular, right away. You always, if you look at the animals in the animal kingdom, they're going to go for a leg, get you off guard first before they go to the jugular. They got to work their way up. So it's the same mentality.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then I want to go back a little bit
Mhm.
because you did mention that you weren't into public relations at first. You were going to do fashion design in the whole
Yeah.
wedding industry. So how did you discover public relations?
For sure. So yeah, I always knew I wanted to be a designer. Growing up, I sewed. My aunt, my grandmother sewed, and I just had an affinity for just clothes. And so I knew I was going to go to school for design. What in design, I wasn't sure. But then earlier on, I found out I love weddings. I love the whole thought of marriage. So I was like, yeah, I want to be a bridal designer. So through my years in Seneca College in the fashion arts program, I ended up doing I was on student council, so ended up on the Black History Month team. And then we started producing events for the school, obviously, not just for Black History Month, but for all the events. So that kind of brought me into the world of event management. But then I'm communicating with talent, I'm communicating with, local rappers and local people trying to figure stuff out, and then we got to get stuff to give to these people and whatever. So that kind of what got me, into it, but I wasn't really sure. And then in my final graduation year, our event teachers came in and they kind of vetted all of us to see where we fit. And they're like, you have a bubbly personality. You'd be great for the PR and promotions team. So I ended up joining the PR team in school. And that's how I found out about PR. And then for my graduating year, I was able to get Barbie and Town Shoes and a bunch of people to sponsor us. And then the coordinators for the event side were like, you should come and do our event program. So I ended up doing the event program right after that. And that's kind of what sparked me into PR. And I just started, my friends and I started connecting with different promoters in the city and working with them and offering God knows what. I tell you, I had no idea what I was doing. Like I was getting, when I look at old emails, I was getting terrible writing, misspelling, grammar areas, all of these things, but I was still securing product and, was struggling, not sure where to go, was like, okay, let me do fashion some more, but realizing that I don't really, I'm stuck in this retail space and I was like, I'm not sure. And then I started interning, but I couldn't get a job because I had no PR experience. So I'm here applying for all these
Okay.
internships. A lot of it was more on the fashion side. So I was doing I was doing Toronto Fashion Week. I was volunteering for. I was volunteering for all of the fashion weeks, attending, showing up and helping up backstage. And then I started connecting with more and more people. And then I just kind of started just doing stuff on my own. And then I landed a few internships and seemed to excel. Even though I failed a lot in certain areas, I excelled in other spaces. And then I just started doing more of it myself. And then I'm starting to meet, I know editors, like I'm showing up at events, I'm volunteering, but you have TV personnel and editors are like, hey, Jackie, what's up? I'm like, hey, what's up? And people are like, how the hell they know the volunteer? Like people had no idea who I was. And my brand name, The Well Connected, was actually called The Well Connected Nobody because I knew a lot of people, but no one knew me. And I had a friend at the time by the name of Troy Monaco who also kind of mentored me in PR. He was like, you're not a nobody, you're a somebody. So that's what required me to drop the nobody. So it just became The Well Connected. So I knew a lot of people, but people, even to this day, I still have friends and family. They don't really know what I do. They just know that they see free stuff. They see that I'm traveling somewhere. They don't really know what I do. And I kind of like that aspect. And then I was trying to apply for jobs, but then I went from having no experience to having too much experience. So now I have
Yeah.
too much experience. I'm considered a threat. I've had interviews where people are like, you would be the perfect person, but we're not sure. Like you're technically a conflict of interest because you contract and you freelance. And then it was like, we don't know if you're going to steal our clients. And a lot of it was also, we're offering you $30,000 and we don't feel you're going to stay because technically the work I'm doing and the things I'm bringing is more. And so 2018, I think my sister and I won a trip to Cuba on the radio, and I quit my job as a senior recruiter for a staffing firm. And then I've been doing my agency ever since. So yeah.
But I think too, like those things happen for a reason that you weren't getting those jobs because you are
Absolutely.
supposed to be out on your own doing this how you want to do it with the vision that you have.
Absolutely.
So I always say those things happen for a reason. I know it's tough during the process,
Of
but you're
course.
like, damn, like nobody's hiring me. What's going on? But it all works out in the end because now you have this
Absolutely.
wonderful company that you own. So I think that's super cool. Um, and then from that, like a lot of people have trouble choosing their careers or choosing what they want to study. They have a lot of pressure from their families and stuff of what they want them to do instead of following their own path. So what would you say to somebody who maybe has something in mind or not unsure of what they want to do in life?
For sure. I would say, you know, we have one life to give. We are on borrowed time. And I try to live my life with as little to no regrets as possible. And the one thing I'm going to do is if I'm going to die doing what I love. And the one thing I want to say, even with my agency, I've given myself until the age of 35. I turned 34 this year to make something of this before I either get a part-time or try to figure something out. But the one thing I want to say is I could say that I tried. I tried to do it. I've had some successes, some really great successes. I've had some really great failures as well. But, you know, I want to say I try. So I'm not out here telling people to disobey your parents and not follow. But at the end of the day, what is your heart asking you to do? This is also where interning plays a big role. I intern everywhere. Like, I love animals. Everybody who knows me personally knows that I probably should have been a vet. I love reptiles. I was just at Reptilia last week. You could always find me at some farm or some zoo. Do I love animals enough that I want to go back to school and study medicine? Maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I took a corporate PR program, I should have done that then. Now, Angelica's like, yes, about the animals. She knows. But now I'm more interested in, let me see if I can volunteer at a shelter and maybe help them with their communication. I'm still doing what I love, and I still get to play with the puppies and the snakes and all of that stuff. But I would say definitely intern in different areas, get your feet wet and see if you actually like the grind, because a lot of people love the prettiness of an industry, especially when it comes to PR. If I'm talking about, like we said earlier, people love they see the free stuff, they see the trips, they see the celebrities, but they don't see the hours of work. They don't see the waiting in the airport. Like, I can't tell you how many airport runs I've done during TIFF, grab somebody, hop them in the car, and the celebrity don't want to talk to you. They know that you're here to do a job. Do your job, get in, get out, and then you're back to the airport. They don't see you got home at 6 a.m., but you got to be in the office at 8 to start the day all over again, and you're on 2 hours of sleep. So, you know, really try what it is you love, and then try. And then once you've tried, and if you say that this is not for me, then go ahead. But that's what I don't say your early 20s, but that's what your high school, your early 20s, that play game stage is for. And then slowly start doing a bucket list of, I tried this and I wasn't really sure of this. I really like this, or this takes a lot of long hours. But all I could say is just really try your best, try an intern and figure out where you want, and then get some clarity. But if it's really passionate to you, sometimes your parents, and our parents have good intentions, they see these creative fields and they know that they don't always come with a lot of money. I'm fortunate enough to have a family that is creative, but my dad's an entrepreneur as well, and he's a very successful entrepreneur. But more so, my whole entire family supports me. Like, when I was on the grind, I could, my aunts, my cousins, my friends, everybody was at my garage, in my house, stacking gift bags, driving downtown, taking off work to support me. I'm fortunate. But sometimes your parents just need to see that you have a plan in place. And if you could provide them with a plan of where you intend to go, then they can't really say anything to you, because it's not like you're coming at them, well, I'm just going to try this and go about it. Have a plan for yourself. Give yourself timelines and deadlines specifically for these plans, and then apply pressure.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that you had that support from your family, because like you were saying, not everybody has that. So I think that's wonderful to see that your family and your friends were helping you in the beginning stages to, you know, make your dreams a reality. And another thing too, a lot of us are doing things on our own for the first time. We're taking that chance of being entrepreneurs. And again, that's something that for a lot of our parents, they don't quite understand, like, why would you do that when they want us to get a job and retire and get our money and all that stuff. But starting a business on your own, is there something that you wish someone would have told you when you first started that maybe could have saved you a lot of trouble or something in the beginning stages?
Save your money. Saving. My dad talked about it for years. And I'm like, spend my little check. Let me live in these streets. Let me do what I gotta do. But really save your money. If COVID didn't teach any of us anything, COVID taught any of us anything. It was that a lot of people thought they were in a great position and they weren't. So have a saving, have an emergency fund, have those backups. Also, when it comes to your business, try not to do everything. Really stick within your area of expertise and outsource what you can, but start with one thing, master that first, get known for those things first, and then branch out into the other areas that you like. I agree, yes, a millionaire has 7 side hustles, but they've mastered one first, and they always go back to that one if everything else always fails, right? There's a lot of jack of all trades, but a ton of masters of none, so we really got to be very specific. But when it comes to this industry, I would say don't quit your job until you have a good footing that you know that you can bring on clients or do this enough to make more than what you're making now. For me, I can't quit my job I'm making this now, what I make at this job. You got to make double. There has to be a surplus on top of that. And then again, I talked about deadlines and goals. Give yourself some deadlines. Okay, get the business side of your business running first. Do all of the business plan. Get the legal stuff done. Before you quit your job, get all of those things out, because I even did this. A lot of us do this. We're so quick to jump into these businesses, and then we need to backtrack with registering, trademarking, LLCs. Like, really take the time to do a business course and hire a mentor. Hire somebody that is not in the field. You need multiple mentors, but hire somebody that's not in the field of what it is you do. Somebody who understands business, understands finance, understands that has a strict business mentality, especially if you're a creative, because they're going to see things black and white when you're seeing things in color. And you need to be able to see things for what they are when it comes to your brand and your business, right? And these are long days. This is no longer the thing about this industry, or just being an entrepreneur in general. There's no such thing as a 9 to 5. You can't just dick off today and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, because you don't have a job that you get paid every 2 weeks. If you don't have clients coming in, if you're not moving product consistently, you don't get paid. So you need to operate like a business. And there's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a business, being a CEO. An entrepreneur is somebody who's just doing this, a sole proprietor, they're doing their things on their own. A CEO hires people. A CEO has staff. You pay a salary to somebody. You're contributing to someone's bills. There's a big differentiation, but understand your place and where you're at. And understand that you're starting small. Have real humble expectations for where it is you want to go in life right now. I'm not saying you're not going to make $1 million right away. You're not going to be that viral person, but give yourself time to get there. Offer yourself grace as well. You are going to fail. You're going to have extreme highs and extreme lows. I can't tell you how many times I flung my laptop across it. All yesterday I was upset. Like it happens. You go through multiple moments of depression and excitement and just times of when you're tired, but you have to measure that out. You have to give yourself grace and a pat on the back, saying, you know what, I'm applying, I'm trying, I'm doing more than other people. And then lastly, get yourself a great support system. And I'm not talking, and you'll have multiple. Your friends are one thing, but keep in mind your friends and family are not your target audience. They're not your target customer. They don't understand, because this is not an industry that they're in or job that they're looking to get into. Align yourself with a tribe of people who are like-minded tribe. That's really important. You got your homegirls, you got your homeboys, you got your mom and pops and them. That's cool. That's that love tribe, but you need a like-minded tribe of people who, when you're on something, will call you out. When you need to level up, they will require you to level up, because you're around people who are consistently striving to do better, and then you have no reason but to maintain a level, because you want to be in that same crew. So those are the things I would say for people who don't know much about this industry, is really get yourself equipped to fail first. You're fail before you succeed. That's just it. You'll fail before you succeed.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And definitely have people around that can hold you accountable. And even people that are ahead of you in the business as well. Because I think that's really good to have those type of people around. And someone said, like, a business consultant. Is that something that people should have?
hire a business consultant, hire somebody who understands the mapping out. Because where a lot of us struggle, even myself, is the pricing of our services, because we don't officially know our own. I know Connie was in here. She's a PR maven. Her and I share the same birthday, August 31st, Virgo, but she always cuts me all the time.
I'm a Virgo too.
When's your birthday?
September 6th.
Okay. I like September Virgos. You guys cool too? Okay. But you know, one thing we struggle with is the pricing of our services, because in the beginning you got a low ball because you don't know anything. But when do you get to a point that you are an expert and you can be charging expert prices, right? So that business consultant is really important, because they will just look at it from a application point of view of just everything that you've been doing, and they will give you the pricing that applies. And because you're looking at it from an emotional point of view, because you've seen that you've been going through the journey. They're looking at it at this point in time, at this point, this pinpoint right here, this is where you need to be charging. And then lastly, I would say is get a, not necessarily a life coach, but a psychiatrist or a therapist, a life coach, somebody with that mindset working aspect, because your mindset will have to change along with your business, and because your business is going to go in phases of, you know, cutesy newbie to, okay, we move in, but some hiccups, we stalled, and then we're running smoothly. But you need a mindset coach to help you through the ups and downs and the lows of your business. So, yeah.
No, those things are really important when starting out a business. So I do have two more questions for you. So one of the questions was, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to help Black millennials and Gen Z and things of that nature. And I find a lot of times we're like the token Black girl or the one Black person within the group or what have you. So I want to know if you can tell us like an obstacle that you faced as a Black woman within the industry.
Well, when I worked in the beauty PR side of things, I tend to be the only Black female. It just so happened to be in a lot of the places I've been the only Black female. And when I worked in beauty PR, an obstacle I faced is everyone's trying to get me to sell this product and be excited about it, but I can't sell something I can't try. I can't sell something that I don't have a natural opinion on, because I don't like to be fake. So it was hard, because, you know, we're talking about things that I don't necessarily relate to. So that was an obstacle there, but I still have a job to do. So you have to do your job, right? So now I'm outsourcing, giving it to my friend Lindsay, who happens to be, you know, a white woman. Lindsay, trial the products and give me all the feedback. So, you know, you have to think outside the box, and you still have a job to be done, no matter what race, creed, color, dimension, whatever. You still have something that has to be done. So that was one of the obstacles. But also working in film PR for a while, you know, I'm being placed in all these Black films, and is it because I'm a Black person that you're putting me? I was
just gonna ask that if they were placing you there because of that.
And it seemed to be like I worked on Moonlight, and Moonlight was a great film from the Canadian promotion side, but I'm not American Black, so strife number one. I'm also not lesbian or gay. Nothing against gays or lesbian. I'm just not. So then I don't understand what's happening. But one thing I do want to say, because I do get this question a lot, for any person of color, whether you be Black, white, Chinese, or Black, Chinese, Native American, Hispanic, mixed, whatever it is, if you are the only person in that position, you are in the key position to invoke change. And you are in a position to educate your boss, your staff, you're able to educate and inspire your surrounding. And a lot of people are like, I'm the only Black woman in this position, I'm the only Black person. So then why is that? Ask the hard questions. And yes, you don't want to be that angry Black girl, but ask the hard questions and force your bosses or your partners to stretch their mind, because you have to keep in mind some of these people don't have Black friends, don't have Asian friends. They're not racist, that's just not who they are surrounded by. So it's as new to you as it's as new to them. And I had the pleasure of, when all, you know, the blackout happened and everything with George Floyd, I had clients coming to me saying, what do we do? And I said, I don't want you to put out a Black space. I don't want you to do a whole PR message about how you're inclusive. I want you to start applying that into the positions you have. And I said, you know, one of the companies I work with, I've made the comments multiple times about, I'm tired of being one of the only Black people in films. Like, what's up? Like, and we're doing all these other films of the races, why do we not have these people that can speak to certain things that could be problematic that you may not know? And we've all seen problematic statements that have come out because you're trying to do a film or you're trying to do a project about a different race, a different background, a different gender, and you don't have anybody that can weigh in and show you, hi, that statement, problematic. So, you know, I be in a position that you could educate your clients. And even in beauty PR, I was like, you know, we don't really talk to a lot of women of color. You don't really have them on your roster. Well, we don't really have products. Well, L'Oreal has a whole line of stuff. And do you not realize that Black women wear wigs? Even Gots to Be. I was on a call with Gots to Be last year, and I was like, yeah, I love using Gots to Be for my wigs. And they were like, for your wigs? I'm like, yeah, to lay down the lace. I was like, wait, you don't know? And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, let me show you. So I literally peeled off in the middle of my Zoom call my wig and showed them how. Oh my God, we never knew. I was in a position to educate. And when you get in a position to educate, you get to be in a position to bring in other people. So now you're at a space where you are able to influence what happens in decision making, but then you can now bring other women of color or men of color or people of different backgrounds into a space to be more inclusive. So you know, when a lot of like and have problems, yes, you have problems, but how do you influence and change the narrative of your position? And I think if a lot of us start looking at how do we change the position of where we're at and how we're seen, I think a lot of our jobs will be made a lot easier, because you've now, and it's going to be tough. Like, it's not as easy as just, I'm going to do this and blah, blah, blah. But you don't know what you've paved for the growth of that brand because you decide to take a stand.
No, I love that, because that's also changing your outlook on things. Like how you said, don't have a fear of failure. So changing your outlook on failure. Same thing with just being the single Black person or the single person of color within that company or within that project, to look at it a different way and take it as an opportunity to kind of make change. So I think that's really important for people to hear that, and then also put that into practice, so that it's not something like, oh, I have to go here back to work again and they're going to just do all this stuff, and I wish that they would do this, to take the action to make that change.
Absolutely.
So I think that's really important.
And you have to do a lot of listening. There's a lot of listening that's required in this position, but there's a lot of challenge. Like a friend of mine, she was in a position and she was mentioning something where they wanted to pay a white influencer more money with less followers, but a Black influencer less, and she had more, but it was the same campaign. And she felt nervous, but she questioned it. Well, why? And no one could give a definitive answer. But then that also sparked a conversation. It was a hard conversation to have, but it sparked a conversation about privilege and about opportunities with privilege, because it's your friend and all these things. So now it's required them to kind of break down their structure. And now they have a system in place that no matter what race the influencer is, you have to meet these criteria to be getting this pay band. And so yeah, it's a little challenging. I'm not saying you want to challenge your bosses all the time, but if it morally doesn't sit right, or you feel that this is an area where there's an opportunity to educate somebody, educate. And right now, a lot of people do not want to be in cancel culture. It's so easy to run up online and be like, I'm canceling X, Y, and Z because blah, blah, blah. And that will hit like wildfire. So you're more likely to have people that will listen to you first. They might curse you out and talk about you behind your back, but you're more likely to have it be listened, because the threat of it going online or public, no one wants that.
No, it's so true. Because even with me, I tried to do the little bit that I could at my agency. So I noticed basically the roster of influencers that we were working with here in Montreal, they were all happened to be white. So I would try and slip in some people onto the list that they didn't tell me about, because even if they didn't use them for that project, when they go through the list and they look at the page, they'll be like, oh, okay. And then they would be added on to future projects and campaigns. Yeah. So even though I didn't have a say, I wasn't a decision maker because of my position, I just still try to look for new people and slip them in, just anybody, people of color, just so that they can also get those opportunities as well, because they themselves.
Yeah, but that's the power of talking. But you're in a position where you can invoke change. So it doesn't have to be outward change, but those small things are inward change. So you are in a power to invoke change. And that is huge, because it's people that, like you said, that you knew that they would never run across. But we know we always go back to our list. We always go back to our media list and think like, but who the hell is this? Oh, that's pretty cool. So now, and listen, sometimes we got to be doing that. We be sneaky in these jobs. We out here putting in a bunch of people all the time. Like, yeah. And then how did they get on this? I don't know. They was just on the list. Good. When you're telling your friend, you don't know me. Okay. Don't come look for me. No, just come in the party and make your rounds. So I totally hear that.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And then my last question to you, I wanted to know, so far, what has been your biggest life lesson that you can share with us?
My biggest life lesson comes back down to failing. I'm a perfectionist. The Virgo in me, as you already know, where our standards are high, our chest is well high. We want to be perfect. But the biggest life lesson I learned was to fail, to humble myself, and to really, really understand where I fit in, what it is that I excel in, what I do, and understanding my capabilities. And I think I wouldn't have gotten to that if I didn't fail. And so in life, like I said, I'm no longer this mantra that everybody has to be a winner, because I feel like winners hit a top point and they don't strive for anything more, because they're at the top. There's nothing that continues to push them. I'd rather be second place or third place, because that means I have milestones to continue to reach and hit. So my biggest life lesson is also just to keep swimming. And that's from Dory. FYI, I love me some neat, Disney movies, but just keep swimming. Like, you have to keep trying, and you're going to come to a lot of no's. You're going to come to a lot of closed doors, but for every door that's closed, another opens. And that's also God telling you that this is not for you. And you can't believe how thankful you are when you do get something better. And you're like, yo, if I really push for that, this would have never been a possibility. So really just keep going, trusting in the process. And again, gratitude. Biggest life lesson is being grateful for the things that you've done and the things that you haven't done and the things that are coming. Because again, you being so hard on yourself and all these things, you block those blessings that are coming to you. So for me, biggest life lessons is fail, learning to fail, to understand where I stand. And then channeling gratitude, and being thankful for the people, places, opportunities that have passed me, and those that are with me, and those that are coming. So that's what I would say.
No, I love that. And I totally relate. As a Virgo, I'm extremely hard on myself.
Absolutely.
So in the beginning, even a little bit now, if I fail or even like a mistake, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like in my head all the time. So I love that was your that you gave to us as your biggest life lesson. So those are all of my questions for Career Talk for today.
Thank you.
Did you want to end with anything? Tell people where to follow you, where to keep up with you?
Yeah, so I be on Instagram. I just be here. My DMs are dry, so you're always more than welcome to DM me. But I can be found at Is Well Connected on my personal, Well Connected TO on my business account. Again, I do pitch decks, presentation design, sponsorship, mapping, and acquisition. So if anybody wants to talk about those things, hit me up. Or if you need just creative strategies for public relations support and effort, we don't do the front-end PR. So I'm not going to pitch you on TV. I'm not going to help you in that area, but I can support your messaging and connect you with people who can. And if you just want to talk about creative projects and you're just not sure where your mind is at, I'm always down for a discovery call to kind of help people feel out, catch the pinpoints within the range. So yeah, that's me.
Perfect. And I think too, those discovery calls are really important. A lot of people feel sometimes that they're like a waste of time, like just trying to get money or what have you, but they are really, really good. So I definitely recommend people that need help brainstorming and all that stuff. Those discovery calls really help a lot.
Yes, discovery calls are great. And sometimes it's not even just about discovery to sell. It's discovery to learn. And I get to stretch my mind. I get to think outside of the box. And then ultimately, the point of your brand or business is to connect with people in general. So if you're not having calls, if you're not connecting with people, what network do you have to explore possibilities? I don't know who you know that may need my support, but by connecting with you, somebody might come to you and be like, I can't help you, but I know somebody who can. So it is worthwhile to hop on discovery calls, connect with people, and even just slide in DMs, be like, hey, I want to know a little bit more about what you do. Do you have time to talk? because again, you just don't know who that person knows, and it's not about what you know now, it's about who you know. So yeah, discovery calls all the way.
Very, very true. Thank you so much, Jackie. We learned a lot today. I know I learned a lot today. So I want to thank you so much for all of the information that you provided. This was amazing.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for reaching out. I'm glad that we could connect, and I now know another PR person that I can send work to when I don't want to be doing it, because girl, I'd be tired in the streets. So be calling you real soon, be like, hey, I got some opportunities. So yeah, so thank you so
definitely. Definitely call me. This was great. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.